That was my only question. Why now?
They had all the city halls there, so I just didn't think they had to go.
Yeah, that's fine.
You guys ready? Ready? We may begin. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Here.
Densberger?
Here.
Jeffers?
Here.
Call?
Here.
Mayor Mingus?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please stand for the invocation. Remain standing for the pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you for the beautiful day that we've experienced here in our city. Thank you for the nice Labor Day weekend we celebrate this past. We thank you for the new school year, which is beginning to be settled in now in our community. We just continue to pray for safety for those traveling to and fro as they get into and back to a new schedule for some. And we're thankful that we have this the city and the school system, and for our children and families where they can participate in high school and all the good things that can mold families, and we're very appreciative of that. We ask your blessing in our meeting tonight as we deliberate the city's business, and we ask your blessing. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, we are going to pull the minutes for additional review and revision, and we'll bring them back at the next regular scheduled meeting.
Very good. Thank you very much. Communications. 2 proclamations. Whereas September is known around the world as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month and is intended to help promote awareness surrounding each of the suicide prevention resources available to us in our community. The simple goal is to learn how to help those around us and how to talk about suicide without increasing the risk of harm. And whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, race, orientation, income level, religion, or background. And whereas according to the CDC, each year more than 41,000 people die by suicide. And whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among adults in the United States and the 2nd leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 24. And whereas East Peoria, Illinois is no different than any other community in the country, but chooses to publicly state and place our full support behind local educators, mental health professionals, athletic coaches, PAC leaders, police officers, and parents as partners in supporting our community and simply being available to one another. And whereas local organizations such as Suicide Prevention Services and national organizations like National Alliance on Mental Illness are on the front lines of a battle that many still refuse to discuss in public, as suicide and mental illness remain too taboo to topic to speak on. And whereas every member of our community should understand that throughout life struggles, we all need the occasional reminder that we are all silently fighting our own battles. And whereas I encourage all residents to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors over the next few days, and to generally convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, message, handshake, or hug can go a long way toward helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, David W. Mingus, Mayor of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2018 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Commissioner Call, you remember how this originated by a gentleman, a commissioner up north, I believe it was.
Yes, sir.
Who lost somebody very important to him and put a plea out throughout the entire state for us to read this proclamation and become more aware of helping others. And we did it for him.
Sir.
Next, whereas in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, the American people demonstrated in times of hardship the values that define us do not simply endure. They are stronger than ever. And whereas as a nation we responded to unthinkable tragedy with an outpouring of service and goodwill. And whereas on that dark day, first responders rushed into a burning Pentagon and climbed the stairs of smoking towers on the verge of collapse while citizens risked their own health and safety to prevent further heartbreak and destruction. And whereas as Americans we came together to help our country recover and rebuild, today we pay tribute to the selfless heroes and innocent victims of September 11, 2001, and we reaffirm the spirit of patriotism, service, and unity that we felt in the days and months that followed. And whereas we join in serving causes greater than ourselves and honoring those we lost, we are reminded of the ways that the victims of 9/11 live on in the people they love, the lives they touch, and the courageous acts they inspired. And whereas by a joint resolution approved December 18, 2001, The Congress has designated September 11th of each year as Patriot Day. Now therefore, I, David W. Mingus, Mayor of the City of East Peoria, do hereby proclaim September 11th, 2018 as Patriot Day in the City of East Peoria. I invite all citizens to participate in community service in honor of those our nation lost, to observe this day with appropriate ceremonies and activities, including remembrance services, and to observe a moment of silence beginning at 8:46 a.m. to honor the innocent victims who perished as a result of the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. And ask all businesses, schools, and agencies to display the flag of the United States at half-staff in honor of those individuals who lost their lives on September 11, 2001. That time again, 8:46, and I hope we all remember that. Okay, public comment. Anybody in the audience want to speak to the council on an agenda item? Come forward. On an agenda item.
I have a comment on non-agenda item.
Can you wait until we get done with this then, please?
Pardon?
We'll hit that at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your patience. Don, welcome.
I got the package and started to read through it. As I did, I came across the minutes of the last meeting and the special meeting. And as I read through it, I see what I believe are some very big inaccuracies in what was discussed at that meeting. Especially here when it says that I just asked about a bill, on the schedule of bills. Actually, I referenced a bill, and I asked about work comp issues, claims, costs, and preventative measures, which I don't see anything on there. Also, the next line says that the other gentleman, he asked about an employment issue, and actually I think that there was a lot more expanded issues talked about there, about employees and the theft and a rehiring. Which I don't see anything there either.
That's why Commissioner Call tabled it. It's going to be redone and looked at, and to be submitted next time, Don.
So it's just something that I notice that regularly happens, though. It seems like when things are positive, they're expanded. When things are negative, they're kind of, not talked about. And I think that the meetings need to reflect the accuracies way better than what these do at times. There's a lot of them that I can go back through and see that they don't reflect what was really talked about.
Appreciate that.
Pardon me?
Agree with you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. We have a consent agenda. Commissioner Densberger, pass it over to you.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a consent agenda consisting of items numbered 1 through 5 as listed on the agenda for this meeting to be considered by omnibus vote.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call, discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
In which case, Mr. Mayor, I move you that the items numbered 1 through 5 listed on the consent agenda be hereby approved and adopted. The items numbered 2 through 5, having been read once by their title, and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call, discussion, roll call, please. Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
On to my regular items, Your Honor. The first two that I have, ordinance 4413 and 4414, are related, and after I read the first one, I'll ask Ty to speak on both as they run together. Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4413, hereto attached, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Title 4 of the East Peoria City Code regarding the size of permitted solar projects under the city's Solar Energy Code, be accepted on its first reading, as read by its title, and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Decker.
Thank you, Commissioner. As everyone will recall, some time ago, we approved a measure allowing the property owned by the township out in the Robine area to be developed as a solar energy field, and some of the conditions have changed. And with that, Ty?
Thank you, Commissioner. So since this item was originally presented, the state has changed one of the rules, and that's the overall size of what's considered community solar. So instead of a 2 megawatt generation capacity, now they can do 4. It's essentially two 2 megawatt generation sites that can be adjacent to one another on adjacent properties. So basically, this is changing our code to reflect that change in the state regs. And then the next item is the only case that we've had that's come through so far for special use. And this would also permit them to be able to go up to that 4 megawatt generation capacity.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
And then the related item, Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4414 here to attach, an ordinance authorizing a First Amendment to the conditions imposed on the special use granted with respect to property located on East Washington Street near its intersection with Sunrise Avenue in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Decker.
Thank you, Commissioner. Nothing further on it, Your Honor.
Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4415 here to attach, an ordinance approving the subdivision plat for property off of Pine Street, pins 050511 100 and 050511 007 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call.
Thank you, Commissioner. Ty?
So this is a bit of a unique case that typically you have 4 or fewer lots, and if they meet all the requirements of the code, we don't necessarily present something in front of the council. It can be administratively approved. In this case, it's a very unique subdivision that's occurring. It's outside of the city at present. There is a landlocked parcel, and then there's another parcel that contains a larger homestead. They propose something that's a bit unique. But what the net result is you have these 2 homesteads now will have their own identifiable lots that connect to right-of-way. They're going to dedicate right-of-way at the end of Pine. It's not going to be improved at this point. The other unique piece of this request is that they do not require water or sewer facilities at this point in time and are asking not to be annexed. And so in consideration for that, the proposal here would be to say, we won't annex you at this time, but we do ask that you cover the cost for the city attorney's office to bring this before the city council.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Next, Your Honor, I have Resolution 1819-059. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution Number 1819-059 hereto attached, a resolution approving a right-of-way and pole attachment agreement with Mobile Light LLC be approved, and that this Resolution Number 1819-059 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is our first agreement after the state essentially changed the rules on cell towers and other communication devices. This is, as I said, it's an agreement with Mobile Light. Current legislation currently provides for placement of small devices such as this on various utility poles and such, and this is our effort to keep some sort of a hand in the approval process. Ty, anything else?
This is essentially like other franchise agreements we have with other utility providers. It's providing us kind of a process which they need to follow as we go through the approval reviews.
Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, Resolution Number 1819-061. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution Number 1819-061 hereto attached, a resolution authorizing and directing the payment of an invoice in the amount of $15,000 to the Fond du Lac Park District for security detail at the Winter Wonderland lighted display in November and December of 2017 be approved, and that this resolution number 1819-061 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, this is payment for services during last year's Festival of Lights. Evidently, the billing by the Park District had been misplaced. We've received it, and we'll pay for the services rendered.
Very good. Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That's all I have at this time, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Two items, Mayor. First of all, 1819-057, be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, the resolution number 1819-057 hereto attached, a resolution authorizing the appropriation of $245,000 of 2019 motor fuel tax fund for the purchase of road salt be approved, and this resolution number 1819-057 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title, be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Densberger.
Thank you, Commissioner Densberger. When it's 90 to 100 degrees outside, it's difficult to think about road salt and the need to spend $245,000 on salt, but we'll be quickly approaching that time of year. Speaking with Rick, we do have salt still left over from last year. That's good. But if you realize that the last few years we've had rather mild winters, it's going to hit us again soon, that we'll either have a lot of ice or a lot of snow. So this is what was budgeted, and we're excited or happy to take it because one of these days we're going to need all of it.
Thank you. Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Next, Mayor, resolution number 1819-060, be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, the resolution number 1819-060, hereto attached, a resolution requesting permission for temporary closure of state-maintained roadways for a public event for the Festival of Lights Parade on November 17th, 2018, be approved, and that this resolution number 1819-060 be accepted on its first reading, as read by its title, be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call.
Thank you, Commissioner Call. Each year we do this. Again, it's strange, we talk about Festival of Lights Parade, but it's right around the corner. We have to do this ahead of time to make sure that the state routes can be closed during that time.
It'll be here before we know it.
Yes, it will.
Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That's all I have right now, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Commissioner Jeffers.
I have one item tonight, Mr. Mayor. It's the second reading. Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4411, hereto attached, an ordinance authorizing the City of East Peoria to borrow funds in an amount not to exceed $57,348,000 from the Water Pollution Control Loan Program for the city's sanitary sewer system upgrade project, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call.
Thank you, Commissioner Call. We've been working on this project as a whole for many years, even before I even began my terms here with the city, but it's come to fruition. The project's been approved. This is the financing part of it. We are, Mr. Eder, Jeff, the EPA, we're still waiting final approval of our loan, et cetera.
Well, this is
The borrowing amount.
Well, this is part of the final push before they can sign off on the loan. They have to have this ordinance. But once we get this, I think there was still one piece we were waiting on, historic preservation, I think, a letter from historic preservation, and then we would have
Yes.
everything that we would need to submit for the loan and then go out to bid for our contract for the first bid of several for this project.
I know our last meeting, Dennis was here and mentioned, we had that second reading about and it is for the environmental impact, I guess maybe a shorthand
Yeah.
to explain that, but we'll announce that, have that, and then that's the final checkbox for this.
Correct. So we are on schedule to get that issued before, RFP out on the streets before the end of the year, get the bid opening. That way we should get good quality bids for start of spring construction season.
Thank you. Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That's all at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Jeffers. Commissioner Call.
One item this evening, sir. Resolution number 1819-062. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1819-062, hereto attached a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Peoria, Illinois, for procurement of body-worn cameras and program development be hereby approved, and that this resolution number 1819-062, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
Second, please.
Second.
Mr. Densberger.
Thank you, Commissioner Densberger. Before I turn it over to the chief, just a couple brief details. The cost of this is $46,567.76, which will be spread out over a 5-year period. It entails receiving 45 cameras and the related storage solution. It's something that we approved, quite honestly, quite some time ago to participate in. Without further ado, Chief, it's all yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is really getting close to the culmination of a very, very tough, probably year-and-a-half process of going through, winding our way through this federal grant, partnering with the City of Peoria, along with Peoria County Sheriff and Peoria Park District, to outfit the East Peoria Police Department with body cameras. But we're now very close to that, and this agreement is a big step towards that. To bring you, as quickly as I can, bring you up to speed, a few months back, bids were put out for body cameras. Over a dozen companies responded to that bid. We all met as a collective group, reviewed those bids, chose 2 companies, the 2 lowest bids, and those companies then provided each department, in our case, 3 body cameras for a pilot program. So we outfitted 3 of our officers with body cameras from each of the 2 companies that were the low bids to test them out, as did Peoria City and the other people who were partnering in the grant. It became evident very quickly that one of the companies' body cameras was not technically ready for day-to-day usage, and so we continued the pilot program with the company that was ultimately selected, and that is a company called VView. VView is a very big player in the body camera field, and they were recently acquired by a company named Axon. Axon is best known nationwide as the maker of tasers. But in reality, Axon's a much bigger company and is probably the single largest player in the police body-worn camera field nationwide. They acquired VView, and it makes them really one of the major players. They outfit most of the major large departments across this country. So we are at the point now where once these intergovernmental agreements are signed by each of the entities, once that is done, then the actual order will be submitted to VView for the actual cameras and the software and everything that's included. Once that equipment is received, and VView has assured us, and we feel comfortable that it will not take long for them to ship the number of body cameras, which is well over 300 body cameras that this involves. They'll be able to ship those quite quickly. At that point, we will then start training our officers. That will be done in conjunction with Peoria City. They've offered up their training room. It'll be a part of their core training. They've invited all the officers involved in the grant to come over so we can all be trained at the same time, so we're all on the same page on the use of these cameras. Once the officers are trained, then we can start realistically looking at rolling out the body cameras. It's still yet to be decided whether we're going to do that piece by piece, shift by shift, or whether we're just going to go ahead and try to roll it out as one department. That'll have a lot to do with not so much the officers, that'll have a lot to do with how comfortable we are that we have that our support staff that have to maintain the footage, the IT staff and our support staff are ready to handle, because the vast majority of dealing with this program is going to be dealing with the actual footage. The storage, the law is very specific on what type of footage has to be kept for a certain length of time. So it's always been about the storage, and we were able to work this through, and we're partnered with Peoria City, and they are actually handling that storage as it was anticipated. And actually, from what the money was going to be a year and a half ago, has turned out to be actually significantly less. As we went through the bid process, this is actually much cheaper than we thought it would be. The largest payment is due this October. If this agreement is approved, that's $11,918 and some cents. But each subsequent year on October 1st for the next 5 years, the payment is only $8,662. That would have never even bought the actual cameras in the real world, wouldn't even have come close. So we're very excited to have this going. I think it's a major, major step for this police department, and we're anxious to get it going and to see where it goes.
Thank you, Chief.
Very good, thanks, Chief. Other discussion?
I'd just like to commend the chief for getting us involved in this grant. I think this is as he said, a significant step forward for the department. These cameras not only protect the citizens, but the good work that the officers do, and ultimately the city. So thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to say a couple things. First of all, I'm very happy we're getting these. I'm supportive. One concern I have is that the camera can't pick up everything. And the officers, their peripherals, the things they see maybe when they turn their head, those are things that the cameras may not pick up. So that's a little concerning. My concern is the public could gain a false sense of, I don't know, that it's always going to be perfect, and it's not. I've worked around police officers in my entire career, and I'm impressed with the East Peoria police officers. They're very professional. They do their job very well. And whereas I'm always supportive of them, I am happy that we have this tool, but I just hope that the public recognizes it is a tool, that our officers are trained very well. They do an excellent job, and if there are times that maybe something isn't obvious, that I hope that we give them at least the ability to show who they are. Always, I believe our officers always treat people with respect. They've had voice for quite some time. Things are recorded. Now we're going to have the ability to see people or see the incident as it happens. So another concern I have is just the storage. I mean, it takes up an enormous amount of space. Is that true, Chief?
It does. It does take up an enormous amount of space. In any body camera program, that's by far the biggest cost. We went with an on-site storage solution, mainly out of cost. There's a lot of places that would prefer, and the newest thing is to go to the cloud with your storage solution. That's still quite expensive to do that. So yeah, you're not talking about, your home computer may be measured in gigabytes. We're talking about numerous terabytes of storage for the amount of footage that we're talking about. So it definitely is, but I think you make an excellent point, Commissioner, about managing the public's view of what this is supposed to be. And I think it would be a good idea as we go forward, perhaps at a working session or whatever we can do, to show, what these cameras do and show what these cameras do show. They make cameras very sophisticated now that have the ability to do very low light. We don't want that. We want the camera to show what the police officer saw, not what infrared or any
Right.
kind of special things. We want the camera to see what the police officer saw. That's the only way you can reasonably judge what their actions may have been. But that's a good point, and I think it'll behoove us as the department to do some outreach and make sure that we are managing people's realistic expectations of what those cameras can and cannot do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more comment, I guess, or I'll let the chief comment. From my understanding, really, without cooperating and partnering with Peoria on this, our costs would have been tremendous, or a lot more money.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think that needs to be brought out,
Yeah.
if to do this by ourselves would have been much more expensive.
We would not be sitting here even, frankly, not even talking about doing this, not in, not with finances as they are in a lot of places. This grant is really the only thing that allowed any of these departments to really get into this. And we're thankful to the city of Peoria for reaching across the river and personally inviting us to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. All I have, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Now, from the audience, non-agenda items. Please, sir, come forward. Thanks for your patience.
In reference to my comments at last meeting, where I spoke about the employee that was fired for theft, I have a copy of the police report and the termination letter, and that employee was actually fired for dishonesty. What Mr. Decker failed to mention, 2 employees were brought back. And the second employee drove employee number 1 to her residence and dumped off the rock. And that employee was counseled about that. But that's not what the second employee was fired for. That second employee was on a garbage route, and he saw fit to go pick his garbage up outside of the city limits. So he's taken our garbage truck, our expenditures, going to his residence, not in the city, picking up garbage. When he was reassigned to another route, he coerced another employee to pick up his garbage outside of the city limits again. So it kind of baffles me why, when I was up here speaking a couple weeks ago, there wasn't any mention about 2 employees being brought back. So that employee was not fired for theft of the rock. That employee was fired for theft of services and also coercing the second employee to do the same thing. And, it's very, very, I just don't understand why we have to drag all this stuff out of our city government, okay? I requested Freedom of Information Act on 8/23. When did I get them? 12 days later, today at 3:45. And I believe the time frame is supposed to be 5 days. So, again, I'll go back to my other comments last meeting that we need to change the form of government. One commissioner should not be the dictator over a department. I know at least 3 members of this council advised Mr. Decker not to bring these employees back. In addition, the city attorney advised Mr. Decker not to bring these employees back. But these employees were brought back regardless. Any comment?
No, sir.
Okay.
Anybody else want to speak to the council? Welcome.
I recently watched a city council meeting in regards to an address 314 Doring Road. A man claiming that this woman over here that's disabled is a drug dealer and has a wheelchair ramp illegally. And I have went and obtained information from the state, where the state of Illinois is the ones that paid to put her wheelchair ramp in, and how they also pay in-home health care workers to come and tend to her on a daily basis. What can I do to stop this harassment?
I mean,
We had a
was-
resident come before the council and.
Was it before this council?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Yes.
LA,
Okay.
There was
Oh,
two-
okay.
Two meetings ago, I
Yep.
think.
His initial complaint had to do with blocking the alley that many of the neighbors use. And as he expressed his frustration and complaints, city code enforcement and other departments were asked to look into the matter to make sure that no codes are being violated, and that was the extent of the city's involvement.
Okay.
I think that, and I appreciate you being here. I talked to you last week, and I know you were very upset, and rightly so. That would become a civil matter, I think, Dennis, is between two neighbors?
Well, it sounds like it, but I'm really not familiar with this matter at all, so I'd like to get better informed.
So perhaps to talk to your legal counsel about what you can do.
Okay, yeah, because her vehicle has been ran over, my kids' bikes
Well,
have
if
been
there's a
stolen from her
crime, if there's a
yard.
crime, we certainly, chief would be available.
Yeah. For clarification purposes, so now I do recall a gentleman coming before us and
Right.
complaining. And am I hearing you correctly that there were no violations found?
As city staff went back and rechecked the property, and no, there were no violations found.
That's clearly a
I believe
civil matter.
I did speak with Mr. Szymanski also about placing some no parking signage in the alleyway to ensure that it's not blocked so that everyone has access. But that's been the extent of city
I
action.
just saw Attorney Triggs motion to you with the chief that they'll be happy to talk to you, so
Okay,
that might give you some guidance.
okay, thank you.
Thanks for being here, though, appreciate it. I know you're very upset. Anybody else? Bob, welcome.
You got the pumps ready?
Got the what?
The pumps.
The pumps?
They say we're gonna get 6 inches of rain. Last time we got a big bunch of rain, I had a basement full of water, and that was many years ago. All the pumps were in Quincy. Got them loaned out this time? You don't know what I'm talking about at all, do you?
Well, Public Works would have to answer that.
Wait, let's go back to.
I think you're referring to the pumps that we use when the river comes up.
Yes,
And I
that's
don't,
right.
yeah, I don't, we don't anticipate the river coming up to the extent where we will need the pumps.
Okay, well, the reason I'm asking is, and I'm only going by the boob tube now. They're saying we're supposed to get 6 inches or possibly more.
Did that come from Chief Meteorologist Chuck Collins?
I don't know who it was. I don't, no, it wasn't him, I reckon.
It depends where we get it to, whether we're getting it, you know, it's actually worse to get it up north than it is here, because if we get it here, it works its way further south. But
Okay,
I was
well,
gonna say,
you
I
know.
saw 3.5 inches.
Well, the other thing I'm saying is that the weather department's saying the first 4 inches we can probably absorb in the ground. The next 2 or more inches is gonna be runoff. Well, you know what? Okay, enough said on that. Well, that's what I was gonna ask you. Oh, are you authorized to say just what kind of development this is gonna be that Cullinan wants to do over here where LaConce is?
I'm
On-
personally not
on,
familiar
Center
with what
Street.
their plans are. First
Bob?
I heard about it was on the news.
Yeah,
Well,
Bob?
that's where I heard about it.
Bob, there is no development plan that we're aware of. I believe they're simply going to take the building down. They've owned it for some time. I know the fire department did some training there last week, but I'm unaware of any current plans for development there. Ty,
well,
or,
I was just kind of curious, and is this housing like that was come and went in the past here that we discussed? Is it dead in water, or is it just back burner?
there is nothing currently active.
Nothing. Okay, thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you. Anybody else? Seeing no one else, comments from the council. Commissioner Decker.
I have a couple items, Mayor. First of all, I can't think, it's either May or June, I had the honor of assisting with the honor flight. It's the first time I had done it. It was a great event. I got to be, I guess, a medical provider, but more just an assistant for all those who are unable to, whether it be get in and out of their wheelchair onto the plane seat. When we get to DC, help them get back in the wheelchair, help them off the plane, help them onto the buses, off the buses if necessary, and whatever help they need. I had heard a lot of the guys I work with over the years talk about what a great experience it is, and man, they couldn't have been more right. So I have the honor again on September the 18th, which will be next council meeting, to do it as well. So I'm just saying this, I'm going to miss the next council meeting. It's for that reason. It is one of the best things that I've done in a long time, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again. So the other thing, I can't leave here tonight without mentioning Cleanup Week. It will be next week, the 10th is when it's going to start. I encourage everyone to put whatever you need out at the road. The parameters are supposed to be a 4x8 sheet of plywood, anything that can fit onto a 4x8 sheet of plywood. And as far as how high, the rule is 4 feet. So it should be a good size amount of stuff. Now, our foremen are given complete authority over if they feel like this is an abuse. And what I mean by that is if you see a neighbor and you don't care for that neighbor and you measure their pile to be 5 by 9, our foremen have the ability to pick that up if they feel that it is not an abuse, if it's they're not someone they believe this is from a business or something like that. We have had those people in the past who have, piles and piles, and that's why we had to make the rule. It's too bad we do. One thing I'll say, though, this is the time of year not to put anything close to the road if you don't plan on it disappearing. We have a lot of people going around town looking for things. We call whether scrappers, junkers, whatever you want to call them. They go around, many make their living this way, finding things that either they can use, sell, or whatever. If there's a bike, whatever, don't put it close to the road. People should not come up into your yard, but just be aware of that. And to those people who are going to be traveling throughout the city looking for things, you're not supposed to do it at night. Not only is it dangerous for the person picking things up, it can be dangerous for the neighborhoods. It's difficult to see. If you see somebody at night walking through your yard or scrapping, please call the authorities. We don't want it to create an unsafe situation. So I guess that's about it.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Your Honor, Your Honor, I simply wanted to, recognize the passing of Senator McCain. I think in our society, for whatever reason, it's unfortunate that people's contributions, regardless of the level of that contribution, are only recognized after their passing. And I think whatever your political persuasion, I think Senator McCain's service to this country was long and exemplary. I do find it interesting that he was labeled a maverick, and I guess you're a maverick in today's political arena if you're willing to cross the aisle and look for compromise. So I think that's an all too rare attribute these days. But I simply wanted to mention the senator, and may God comfort his family.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Jeffers.
One item I'd like to highlight, this is an annual event, the East Peoria Historical Society Ice Cream Social. This is a nice time, and they've changed the location of it. This really makes it easier, I think, for people that want to attend. It's going to be right here in the Civic Complex between the library and City Hall, so that makes it, rain or shine, makes it for a nice place to come. $5 ticket, ice cream and cake, and it's just you don't need tickets ahead of time. You can pay at the door when you come in. But September 15th, not quite 2 weeks, 11 to 2. So come down, do some shopping if you will, but go get some ice cream and cake. The money, they use it as a fundraiser, yes. They They're a good group of people that really are part of our good quality of life here in East Peoria. And I would encourage people to consider even joining the Historical Society. So anyway, September 15th, 11 to 2, ice cream social. It's a good time, get a chance to meet some people that have been in the neighborhood for a long time, most of them, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Call, please.
Just a few items. There, the East Peoria Chamber of Commerce has their leadership school beginning September 19th. I've mentioned it in the past. There's still time to register at epcc.org if there's interest there. Still have the farmers market going on through September, each Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. down here in the Levy District. So for those of you that haven't made it, I encourage you to give it a shot here. We've got literally a few weeks left here. Free car seat checks by the East Peoria Fire Department will be conducted tomorrow at 201 West Washington Central House down there from 1 to 4 p.m. And then I'd also like to point out October is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and for the last several years, the East Peoria Fire Department has shown their support. Lieutenant Marmot had designed this year's shirt, and these can be pre-ordered up at Eastside Center between now and September 17th until 5 p.m. on September 17th. The shirts are available adult size. For the t-shirts, $15. Adult sizes range from small through 5 extra large. Children's sizes range from small through extra large. And then for those that are interested in a long sleeve shirt, they're $18. And adult sizes small through 3X, and children's sizes small through extra large. And 100% of the proceeds go to the Susan G. Komen Memorial. And it's just one of many things that, you know, our fine East Peoria Fire Department participates in every year. So I personally think it's a great thing. I've been supportive of it the last few years. I'll be supportive of it this year. So. And then last but not least, I owe it to my beautiful bride to mention it's our anniversary, and I'm sitting at a council meeting, and she's running the kids around, but happy anniversary. I appreciate everything you do for our family, and I love you.
Good
That's
job.
it.
Good job. Motion to adjourn, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn until Tuesday evening, September 18th, 2018 at 6 p.m.
Second, please.
Second.
Commissioner Call, discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Thank
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
We are adjourned. That was nice.